The dinosaurs became agitated. They turned, backing out of the shed, and bellowed loudly at the moving lights. Still, the lights moved, relentlessly, swinging back and forth in the night. The pattern of movement was complex, confusing. The dinosaurs bellowed again, and took a menacing step toward the lights. But it was half-hearted. They clearly didn't like being around these moving sources. After a moment, they shuffled off, the lights following them, driving them away past the tennis courts. Thorne moved forward. He heard Harding say, "Doc, better get out of here before they decide to come back." Thorne moved quickly toward the lights. He found himself standing beside Levine and Harding. They were swinging fistfuls of flashlights back and forth. They all went back to the store. Inside, Levine slammed the door shut and sagged back against it. "I was never so frightened in my entire life." "Richard," Harding said coldly, "get a grip on yourself." She crossed the room and placed the flashlights on the counter. "Going out there was insane," Levine said, wiping his forehead. He was drenched in sweat, his shirt stained dark. "Actually, it was a slam dunk," Harding said. She turned to Thorne. "You could see they had a refractory period for skin response. It's fast compared to, say, an octopus, but it's still there. My assumption was that those dinosaurs were like all animals that rely on camouflage. They're basically ambushers. They're not particularly fast or active. They stand motionless for hours in an unchanging environment, disappearing into the background. And they wait until some unsuspecting meal comes along. But if they have to keep adjusting to new light conditions, they know they can't hide. They get anxious. And if they get anxious enough, they finally just run away. Which is what happened." Levine turned and glared angrily at Thorne. "This was all your fault. If you hadn't gone out there that way, just wandering off." "Richard," Harding said, cutting him off, "we need gas, or we'll never get out of here." "Don't you want to get out of here?" Levine said nothing. He sulked. "Well," Thorne said, "there wasn't any gas in the shed anyway." "Hey, everybody," Sarah said. "Look who's here." Arby came forward, leaning on Kelly. He had changed into clothes from the store, a pair of swimming trunks and a t-shirt that said, "InGen, Bioengineering Labs," and beneath, "We Make the Future." Arby had a black eye, a swollen cheekbone, and a cut that Harding had bandaged on his forehead. His arms and legs were badly bruised, but he was walking, and he managed a crooked smile. Thorne said, "How do you feel, son?" Arby said, "You know what I want more than anything right now?" "What?" Thorne said. "Diet Coke," Arby said, "and a lot of aspirin." Sarah bent over to Malcolm. He was humming softly, staring upward. "How is Arby?" he asked. "He'll be okay." "Does he need any morphine?" Malcolm asked. "No, I don't think so." "Good," Malcolm said. He stretched out his arm, rolling up the sleeve. Thorne cleaned the nest out of the microwave and heated up some canned beef stew. He found a package of paper plates, decorated in a Halloween motif, pumpkins and bats, and spooned the food onto the plates. The two kids ate hungrily. He gave a plate to Sarah, then turned to Levine. "How about you?" Levine was staring out the window. "No." Thorne shrugged. Arby came over, holding his plate. "Is there any more?" "Sure," Thorne said. He gave him his own plate. Levine went over and sat with Malcolm. Levine said, "Well, at least we were right about one thing. This island was a true lost world, a pristine, untouched ecology. We were right from the beginning." Malcolm looked over and raised his head. "Are you joking?" he said. "What about all the dead apatosaurs?" "I've been thinking about that," Levine said. "The raptors killed them, obviously. And then the raptors..." "Did what?" Malcolm said. "Dragged them to their nest? Those animals weigh hundreds of tons, Richard. 100 raptors couldn't drag them. No, he sighed. "The carcasses must have floated to a bend in the river, where they beached. The raptors made their nest at a source of convenient food supply. Dead apatosaurs." "Well, possibly. But why so many dead apatosaurs, Richard? Why do none of the animals attain adulthood? And why are there so many predators on the island?" "Well, we need more data, of course," Levine began. "No, we don't," Malcolm said. "Didn't you go through the lab? We already know the answer." "What is it?" Levine said irritably. "Prions," Malcolm said, closing his eyes. Levine frowned. "What prions?" Malcolm sighed. "Ian," Levine said. "What are prions?" "Go away," Malcolm said, waving his hand. Arby was curled up in a corner, near sleep. Thorn rolled up a t-shirt and put it under the boy's head. Arby mumbled something and smiled. In a few moments, he began to snore. Thorn got up and went over to Sarah, who was standing by the window. Outside, the sky was beginning to lighten above the trees, turning pale blue. "How much time now?" she said. Thorn looked up at his watch. "Maybe an hour?" She started to pace. "We've got to get gas," she said. "If we have gas, we can drive the jeep to the helicopter site." "But there's no gas," Thorn said. "There must be some somewhere." She continued to pace. "You tried the pumps?" "Yes, they're dry." "What about inside the lab?" "I don't think so." "Where else?" "What about the trailer?" Thorn shook his head. "It's just a passive tow trailer. The other unit has an auxiliary generator and some gas tanks, but it went over the cliff. Maybe the tanks didn't rupture when it fell. We still have the motorcycle. Maybe I can go out there and—" "Sarah," he said. "It's worth a try." "Sarah." From the window, Levine said softly, "Heads up. We have visitors." So guys, that was the Carnotaurus encounter in the Jurassic Park The Lost World novel. What did you think of it? And do you like these Let's Reads that I'm doing? Let me know in the comments section below. And like this video if you haven't yet. I am the Iceman. More videos to come.